Yeah, everything is open. Okay, I feel like we can start. Welcome everyone. This is the first AMA we've done in a while. We're happy to see you all here. It's been for sure a crazy period with everything that has been happening in the market, so we really felt like it was time to get back to our regular AMA schedule so that we can keep our community posted on what's happening behind the scenes and what exactly is going on. I feel like we're going to have more AMAs in the future. Of course, we're working with new partners to make sure that they can also come on AMAs and that we can also have teamed AMAs where we can discuss about proposals and all kind of stuff that will be beneficial for the community as a whole. I'm not sure how you think it's better to organize this. I think the best idea would be to start by having people here on stage asking their questions related to Abracadabra. And whenever we exhaust all of these questions, we can go through all the written questions, either in the AMA question channel or in general. One thing I ask you is please be all respectful towards your fellow community member, and let's keep the conversation on topic of Abra and what the future holds for the protocol. Anything you guys would like to add?
No, I think it's good. We can start taking questions, to be honest.
Okay, that sounds good. Whoever wants to come on stage, feel free to come on stage. Max, you just hop on stage. Can you try talking or something?
Yeah, how's it going? Can I just kind of dive into my questions?
Yeah, for sure. Welcome.
Please go for it.
Awesome, thanks. I'm helping work on Amero Finance, which is a new liquidity automation platform, and we actually use the Curve mempools for our strategies. So, of course, like that being said, there's quite a few things with them that are very relevant to us. So I do have a few questions. The first one, are there any plans to actually change the main mempool? So right now it's a mem 3CRV. Like for instance, changing it to min USDC or like min Frax Baseball. Is there any plans for that?
Yeah, we have been working exploring this option, especially in the last few months. We believe liquidity management right now is a very interesting topic and something that we should definitely explore more. So if you do have any suggestions on how we could improve the current way in which we have liquidity for meme, make sure to make a proposal on our forum because we really value those and we believe that allowing spell holders to vote upon those will be very, very beneficial. But yeah, behind the scenes we have been working towards seeding and getting new meme liquidity sources ready. I don't know if you've seen, but there's already a meme USDC Frax pool live on Curve Finance with something like $100,000 in liquidity needs. And we've been in contact with the Frax team to see if we can increase that and market that a little bit to explore new and valuable opportunities, basically.
So basically, Frax Baseball might be something interesting. I don't see Item and USDC pair having great additional value, considering how well Memducard is working, and you have the advantage of being directly traded against the very liquid Bluecard pool.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thanks for the explanation there. I just had to ask because, of course, there's a bit of fraud with like USDT and whatnot, so I was keen to hear if there was any ongoing thoughts on that. We'll proposal on that in the future. My second question is actually on the bribes. So recently you guys added to reduce bribes by 20%. Just kind of what was the thinking behind that?
So you wanna start talking about that, Marie, or?
Right. Basic concept, right, is we should always check how responsive the liquidity there is, and as much as what we're seeing is that like more complex models employed by others not always accurately reflect the actual changes. So doing experiments as such allows us to more accurately analyze what impact bribes have exactly.
Yep, and additionally to this, we should also say that we will be also experimenting with voting with our own CRV tokens, because we've been making some calculations behind the scenes, and we basically figured out that there are quite some inefficiencies in the way CRV tokens are currently used to vote through Yearn or through other protocols. So we will be also updating soon on a new strategy in which we would be able to use our YCRV tokens that would basically manage to give us more revenues and probably better liquidity in the future. So, yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's interesting. Cool. And thanks for clarifying that. Again, our strategies are mainly built on event pairs, so it's very relevant. I actually have two more questions. I don't want to hijack this call, but my other one was actually on the mint function for men.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the mint for minting men is callable by the contract, which is like a 5 to 9 multi-sig. So I think this is of course, like an attack vector. Are there any plans to automate this in the future where it's trustless and not done via multi-sig?
Short answer is yes, there are plans for it. Long answer is that when this will happen, there will be a proposal that will be able to be voted upon by all the stakeholders that will need to decide the risk-reward ratio of having MIM minted automatically by the contract. The way I see it personally is that the way our system right now is pretty fairly secure, but I agree with you that there's a point of failure there that could be improved. The risk of that is that there are some issues. We don't have full control on how many memes are given to each holder. But I'm sure that through a discussion on the forum and through a well-structured proposal, we will have plenty of ideas to make this, one, more decentralized, and two, more efficient for the project as a whole. Don't know if Mary, you want to add anything on that level? I guess not. Okay.
No, and always, like, as always, we don't have like all the knowledge. So of course, like, all that will be discussed in the forum, and the community, I'm pretty sure, has a lot of ideas that we might not have thought of. So yeah, when this is discussed in the DAO, like, please contribute, please share your thoughts, and let's like create something good out of all that brain power.
Yep.
Got it.
The more people give us, of course, like, strength is in the pack, right? So the more people give us opinion, the better it is, I guess.
Right, of course. Got it. The last question actually is, we are somewhat interested in perhaps proposing a plugin for our pools. So like we have same class of pools, like for instance like a narrow USDC pool, which has like narrow USDC open tokens. So I was interested to ask about like the process for adding support for like new plugins or developing tokens on Abracadabra.
Sure.
Obviously, of course, on that, but I just wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so what I would recommend you is get a proposal ready and post it right away on our forum in the idea discussion category. Once the proposal is in the idea discussion category, we can already start advertising to our community on both Discord and Twitter, and we can start collecting the first feedback to move it to RFC, which is request for comment proposal. Once the proposal is in RFC, team members will also be able to give you some suggestions on how to make it more likable by stakeholders, because we believe that we have pretty much understanding of what our community looks for when they vote on this proposal, and then we can move it towards an AAP, which is the last step, onto which then stakeholders will make the ultimate decision on how to implement it and how many memes we should dedicate to that pool. I think you should definitely send me a DM. We can open a discussion already with the core team to see if there's something we can already start working on together. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that sounds great. And thanks, Tommy, and really questions and whatnot. That was really great and informative.
Maybe like some parameters and not of the school. School is very likely to convert in anything. That I think what we should look for is returns at around 10% APR or higher. We should look for fairly safe collateral sources. And we need a good way, and we need a stable oracle. Like that's essential. Like we can't. We should also aim for genuine oracles to be had for the underlying collaterals. And if not directly derived from that, because we take that collateral directly, then we need to computationally be able to calculate the correct price of the asset. Without that calculation, be interacted with to maliciously borrow.
Yep. Also, I think your question is pretty helpful for to link to another topic that we wanted to chat about, which is the risk committee. What the past few weeks have taught us very well is that we strongly believe that the protocol requires a risk committee made by community members or also paid advisors. I don't know, we still have to decide properly how to structure it. And to basically give a review and then give an opinion to stakeholders on how risky a particular cold run is. And when this review will be made, all of these points that Merlin just made, so the need of having deep liquidity for it, the need of having an oracle for it, the need of the risk assessment, the general risk assessment, how many means can be needed towards that, are also all a series of topics and a series of answers that we would like to see a risk committee work towards that. We don't have an ETA currently on that, but we are going to start organizing some kind of DAO framework to elect this committee. So we believe that if you guys are interested in, if anyone here is interested in being part of this committee, you should already get some kind of a proposal ready or something like that, and we can just collect them all through our mods also and start organizing it so that stakeholders can vote upon it on the DAO. Do you have any other questions, Max, or are you good?
No, that was it. Thanks again, guys, and I'll send you again.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You can also send me directly in Telegram. I think my Telegram is public. It's Romy0x. Just go for it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks a lot for your questions. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to come on stage? Feel free to do so. Should be able to either request or hop on directly. A good option if no one has any other voice question or if everybody is very shy, is that we could go over the mirror that we just published. And if you guys have any questions related exactly to the mirror, you should definitely be able to come on stage and ask. I saw Caesar just hopped on, so go for it.
Hey guys, one of the things that always made Meme so great is that the expansion rate of Meme, the ability to get Meme to many places and to be put to work, right? Because that's the whole point of the stable coin is to places to put it, use it, and so forth. So I'm wondering if there's any thoughts on this expansion or even maybe reduction or anything like moving it, like, because it costs money to put liquidity pools on many chains. Like, you guys understand the bribing and or voting power is allocated to those pools, right? So I'm wondering what kind of roadmap you guys have in this aspect of like expansion or retraction of memes from the ecosystem.
That's a very good question, I think. Not sure if anybody wants to start talking about it, but the general overview is that in these past few months of bear market, we had plenty of time to properly assess all of our old cold runs, and we realized that some of those cold runs were not use at their max potential, and they were basically leaving money off the table for spellholders. Especially during a bear market as the one we are experiencing, we believe it's a good idea to start a construction. This construction happened already. As you have seen, we have reduced more or less in total Alameda exposure in their cauldron, and mean circulating supply steeply decreased. This gives us a lot of opportunity. First, because it allows us to focus on more revenue-focused cauldrons. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. So the idea is that every time we now push a cauldron, and the DAO votes on the cauldron, each spell holder should keep in mind that emitting mini circulation is something that we pay emissions with. And it's very, very important to focus on that. So we already had some cauldrons in the pipeline that we've been worked on. They were hinted on the mirror, and one of those is a GLP cauldron, a self-repaying option. Another one of those is, I think we can give a little bit of alpha here. We've been working closely with a protocol called Range Trade, which is developing delta neutral strategies on top of GLP. We also have been developing closely some vision box cauldrons with the Velodrome finance team to allow leverage LP farming on Velodrome, on Optimism, which is also really interesting. And the overall idea is to focus first on a revenue-based model, and then see how it goes from there to make sure that our system is more sustainable and more reliable than what it was in the past few months. I think that's the main topic.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Do you have any other questions, Caesar, or are you good? No, you hopped off already. Yeah. What else? Well, let me start maybe saying something about how the path going forward will look like. We would like to strongly focus on increasing the decentralization of Abra. Therefore, if you guys have any opinions, suggestions, or feedbacks, please make sure to make a proposal on those. I don't know if he's here, but someone like Frogonomics, which is a very active member in the community in these past few months, has been done very well. He has been suggesting interesting strategies and interesting solutions to our problems. And I feel like our strength should be in the fact that we can all come together and think about possible solutions to be proposed to spellholders to vote upon. The way I see it is that we should definitely have very important focus as much as we can on growing from where we are in a fully decentralized and a fully community-based way, basically. Any kind of proposal, threads on Twitter, discussions should all be are all very helpful for us, and I believe they're all very helpful for the ecosystem as a whole. Yep. Let me see.
Yeah, and as always, like if you have any issues with the forum itself, like ping me or Romy if anything doesn't work, or if you get like spam caked or some things like this, like do not hesitate to ping us. It's a work in progress, the forum itself, but should work pretty well, and yeah, we would love to see it being used more and being used as a centerpiece of the DAO to gather thoughts, etc.
Yep, as Matt said. So what else? Roxer, hello, man, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, yeah, good to see you guys. Thanks for putting this on. Really appreciate all the answers already. I just had a couple questions. One thing, has been coming up over and over is people are wondering about Magic Internet Gold and NFT lending. Mine was kind of a different take on it. I think you guys are doing a really good job of getting back to kind of the fundamentals of Abracadabra, focusing on, return of value per mem out there, making sure we have premium cauldrons. But it seems like MIG and NFT lend don't really lend itself to that kind of strategy. Do we still think those are good projects? Because to me they seem a little risky in kind of like these uncertain times for Abracadabra.
So I think NFT lend is good in a way that we don't expose any men of our own energy to marketplace. So probably do you think we can push like a live testing event this week? I think that would be great to to kind of show that what we're doing on Potion make it a bit more difficult in that whenever you have a synthetic acid,
There's already a static acid.
You need that static acid, then you need to use a short the synthetic acid for it to be interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to use a short gold, basically, to give it the circulation support.
Okay. I understand those projects are pretty far along, so they may be easy enough just to release, but I think it's, like I said, it's really good that you guys are focusing on the higher return of value per mem, and if these projects don't affect that, then that sounds good to me.
Yeah, so always remember that Potion is an NFT lending platform, but it is peer-to-peer. Sorry, an NFT backed loan lending platform, but it is peer-to-peer, meaning that there is no inherent risk with meme backing or anything like that to the Potion. And a little sneak peek that I think we can share with you is that just last week we have started an extensive random testing on UI plus smart contracts, and probably in the future we will also open some kind of closed beta for anybody who wants to try already what we've been building. And I think you guys will like it very much, but we will definitely need a lot of suggestions and feedback from you because we want to make it really tailor-made for our own audience. I also think that the NFT lending platform is very cool for monkey pictures, as we usually say, but it will also be pretty interesting to see how it will integrate with NFTify. And I don't know, I'm thinking about NFT positions that represent positions on different protocols and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of room for experimentation in that on the side. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I think that sounds really great. I wouldn't want to undersell the risk. There might not be risk to Mint itself, but there's risk to the platform, right? If something goes wrong,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then the other thing I had was, you guys, lately, Rami, you've been on Twitter a little bit, having some back and forth with some people. I want to know if, we want to consider how the team should be handling Twitter as far as like public perception. I know it's important to get in front of like a lot of the FUD that's out there, but at the same time, like arguing with Sifu on there might not be a great look.
Yeah, for sure.
I think argue again with Sifu, but I think it's difficult, right? Like it's hard when we've been very quiet and users with relatively long reach who themselves at least are involved in questionable actions now go after us in terms of actions that profit them. And especially I found it a bit frustrating under a tweet which was overall trying to spin a tweet that was overall positive in favor of us and the project that being spun against us.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I was emotional on that, but also felt like the benefit in this case might outweigh the negative. But you're right, it's tricky, and I don't think we should go back to a time of shit posting, but I think we very much should explain rationally what has happened, where we are, where we're going, and what you will see from the 0x9 account and the spell main account will be very much a point of view. Just that I don't think it would be appropriate at all to use the main accounts to reply to these things, so I thought Lauren account might be more reasonable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Use the main account. That would be really bad, but go ahead, Ronnie.
If I can add something on that, I totally agree with you. Like the guy that you guys know me, I've always been a very emotional guy. I think I would like to make something clear here that when I tweet on my account, yes, I understand that it affects Abracadabra image, but it's mostly my opinions. There's nothing that I can do that is not that is not approved by stakeholders or the DAO governance. So I can have some opinions on some questionable tweets that I can, once again, question the intentions of those tweets, but it should be clear that I'm not representing Abracadabra in that situation officially, because only the DAO can represent Abracadabra and the voted proposal of the DAO and of stakeholders. But I totally agree with you, and I will try to be more, to try to less, to pick the, I don't know if that's English, but in Italian we say pick the ball up. I will try to avoid to
Be more
be
careful.
engaged, be more
essentially.
careful engaging in this kind of situations that are mostly done probably to trigger us and to shine a bad light on our system and our team. But I agree. Like overall, I agree with you. I feel like there should be plenty of other ways to have how can I say, productive discussions toward that topics.
Yep, I'm glad you guys are thinking about that. And again, appreciate all your work. That's all I had. Great talking with you guys.
Pleasure. Thanks for the call, and let's talk soon.
Yep.
Yep. Hello, Frog. Good to see you here.
Hey guys.
Hello, how you doing? I think it's the first time we speak in voice chat, right?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, perfectly. Can you?
Excellent. Yeah, I can hear you guys. Hey, I think there's an interesting opportunity coming up here. We have a, what I would say, an extended period of questionable operational capacity. All that leads back to the MIM liabilities. Roughly about 2 million over collateralized. I think there's an opportunity here to issue what I would call a MIM bond. Opportunity for people aligned with the Abracadabra ecosystem to hold spell through distributions in accepting the liabilities in the debt in the protocol.
Mm-hmm.
In doing that, they would basically own the Y curve revenue distributions. I think these people who would entertain a MIM bond, purchase MIM from the ecosystem, position in protocol as a bond, accept Y curve returns in exchange, would close the liabilities, allow pools to further stabilize, and ultimately deleverage the protocol's risk in any kind of bank run scenario, whether it's manufactured or short-term FUD opportunities by people. I had first talked about this through the use of I call it a flexible index cauldron.
I remember that, yeah.
All of that, the flexible index cauldron is pushed a lot of risk on people. If you do it through a MIM bond, it allows people to be stablecoin allocated, and it also gives them exposure to curve and spell at the same time.
If we use to, like, for example, right, like the YCV to YCV, thereby lifting revenue, and then distribute that revenue, and we just selling off the economic asset of our lives. CFD would just be better off selling YCV directly if we believe to be need of a larger stablecoin position.
I think the issue there is that you give up the voting power. There's some people that appreciate. I think there's
We
people
don't have any revenue unless we give up the voting power. So on YCV, you either have voting power or revenue. You don't have both.
I understand.
I think like the way I see this thing is that there's a lot of opportunities to discuss more about this. I'm a huge fan of the two proposals that you posted, and I believe that what we should do, hopefully, is one of these nights or whenever you have time. Frog, you're still here? I think you popped off. You're still here. Yeah, still here. So I was saying that one in a moment before you are free, we should hop on a voice chat here on Discord and maybe brainstorm more. And I would be more than happy to help you with the team point of view, writing one of this proposal and see if there's room for it to be put on the forum, which I believe it will, and then we can just have spellholders decide. Because to be honest, this is a very good. This is like your ideas are very, very important for us because they allow us to think outside of the box. They allow us to explore new paths. So if you're up for it, you should definitely organize a call with the rest of the team as well. Even here directly on Discord would be fine to discuss more about it and see how we can improve that idea and make it even better. And then we ultimately push it to the stakeholder decisions. What do you say? Rob, you still here, or are you wrecked? Okay, I think you might be wrecked. But anyway, I think I'll DM you shortly and see what we can, when we can organize this possible call and see how we can develop more that idea. I think it's very good stuff. Cheers. Whoever wants to come up, feel free to do so. If you guys have any topic that you would like us to go over, just you're shy, just write them in the chat. I'm sure that we will be able to read them and explain them. I'm looking at general right now, so whatever you guys have there, feel free. So. Can we get more meme for spell for borrowing? I'm not 100% sure this is a great idea to have more meme to be borrowing a spell, especially in a bear market and for pretty, I wouldn't say liquid, but high volatile asset like spell. I believe it would be better to focus more on making sure that the spell price consolidates a little bit before allowing leverage again. But as usual, you can always put a proposal on the forum and ask for the DAO for a few more million memes to be borrowed there and have spell holders vote upon it. Yeah. We're going to be studying Solid, providing Cauldron start to deploy a position with Bribe and locking Solid. So we've been talking a lot with the Solid team. I also think that, Mern, if you want to talk more about that, we're going to probably issue an article or a forum post soon to outline exactly what we've been discussing with them and what, in our belief, are the main synergies with their team. I kind of like their team, but I have more with them. So, yeah.
I think we will always look at Cauldron's best and how much benefit it gives to our protocol. And as you know, we've been involved in the original Solid Glee, so it makes sense to have this discussion with them and see what kind of we can do interesting Cauldrons there as well. I mean, for now, as we find the GLP Cauldrons very interesting, and I think it is interesting to have a self-group handling GLP Cauldron there. For first as an Alpha Cauldron. And then evaluate further, see what demand we can capture first out of Sherman and maybe Avalanche. And I think then we have other potentials in exploring the initial goals we already have, and solidly once it comes out, can then be another opening opportunity for examining it.
Yep. We can also add that I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm seeing most of the innovation in DeFi actually spawning up from layer 2s like a Bitcoin right now. So it's fair to say that we should definitely place a special attention on how the Arbitrum ecosystem is developing. You have probably seen that we are one of the launch partners of Cabinet of Dex. As I mentioned before, we're also going to have some partnership proposal coming up shortly, probably even in the next, even later this week from Rage Trade. Rage Trade is building, as I said, delta neutral strategies, and they're very happy to be able to push a proposal on our forum to fully, how can I say, fully capture the synergies between our two projects. So I think that that's very, very good. And then we have Wen here, who is working very hard with monthly finance. We have also been speaking a lot with the monthly finance team. There's probably some roads to be explored also on that side. And yeah, I believe there's plenty of interesting opportunities to be explored on Arbitrum. I'm really happy to be able to see the Arbitrum ecosystem developing.
Romy, do we want to talk about more about the governance framework itself? Because I feel like it might not be clear for everyone how it works and how it moves from starting from an idea to something more structured to then a vote, the vote being executed. Like how do we see it essentially?
Absolutely, yeah. So everybody is able to push proposals in the forum. Sometimes they might get stuck because maybe you guys wrote a lot of similar words and therefore they have to be reviewed by one of the staff members, but they just ping us and we will review them and approve them all. The first part of our proposal is usually to be posted as an idea discussion. Idea discussion is where most of our proposals are and where we wait for them to gain a lot of traction before moving them on in order not to clog too much the governance itself. After an idea discussion gets a lot of traction, and usually what we encourage people to do is just reach out to fellow community members, reach out for team members, and try to get also their opinion on your RFC and how you can improve it. Once that happens, it moves to RFC. And RFC is a little bit more official version of it.
Okay, I think he crashed, if I'm not mistaken.
Forgot to discharge his letter.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so he was, I mean, in the meantime, while he comes back, yeah, I'm gonna continue that a bit. So yeah, you start with the idea discussion that is very flexible, very formal, and you gather thoughts from the community, then it's moved to an RFC request for comments, and it's a more structured proposal. It has gathered the thoughts of the community, and then the team and the risk committee and everyone, depending on the type of proposal that it is, can give feedback on the actual feasibility of it, and yeah, then you can move to like a proper governance where the voting power of the stockholder is expressed. I'm gonna try and see like what's up the thing.
Okay, that's pretty embarrassing. I was kicked from my own from the own session. That's pretty funny. Sorry. When did you lose me, Madden?
At the RFC, but I kind of like ran the.
Sorry, say that again.
Can you still hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Okay.
So
yes.
RFC.
Oh, I mean, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
RFC.
sorry.
It's good. It's
Sorry,
formalized.
And then voting.
Yeah, correct. So once RFC is formalized, it's moved to AAP, and AAP is the last step before opening a snapshot page. Once an API is published, it's also advertised on all of our social media, so on our Twitter, on our Discord, and on the forum itself, of course. Once this happens, I don't remember the exact amount of days, forgive me. I think it's a minimum of 3 days and a maximum of 7. An AAP vote is made, and spell holders can make their opinion voiced and heard through this vote. Once the vote happens and the vote finishes, the team then executes based solely on spell holder decision. It's very important to say that Abracadabra is a DAO. It's always been a DAO, and all major protocol decisions have always been taken through governance votes. An example could be what happened with the bad debt repayment proposal. Another example could be when we voted towards buying those CRV. Another example, again, would be when we decided to lock those CRV as on Yearn. So yeah, that's basically the whole step. One thing that has to be noted is that there is a threshold to the amount of spell that you need to push the actual vote for the AAP, but at the same time, that threshold, if you don't have enough spell to reach the threshold, just reach out to any of our team members. We will put you in contact with the people with the whales that we know that do have that threshold, and we'll be able to simply push the proposal and allow every single spell holder to get an indicated yes on top of it, get completely informed about the decision, and then vote or upon it. Because that's how decisions are taken through spell holders vote, basically. That makes sense.
That last part was very important. So everyone can have that opinion, but essentially for spamming purposes, and because Snapshot is built that way, we have to put a threshold for people to be able to post an actual vote. But that doesn't mean that if you don't have enough spell, you can't propose that. You can have that idea and completely build it and have something very good, and then you can ask someone that has that balance to post it for you. Like that's not an issue at all, and it's very important that everyone can participate in that process. And yeah, like ask someone that has more spell, or ask people that can come together to help you, like propose that thing. Especially if it's already an AIP in the forum, there is no reason for it not to go through Snapshot. So the threshold is really a Snapshot technicality.
The only thing that we do, that we require though, is to make sure that the governance framework is actually respected. So the RFC, AAP, and then the actual vote. We don't really want to simply have people putting on votes without a detailed description of it, because it would become very, very messy, and it's very difficult for us to keep track of all of this stuff. So if you could just make sure to follow the exact governance framework, that would be very, very good. But you can also always ping one of the team members who will be able to explain you exactly how the governance framework works and how to properly propose your idea in a way in which spell holders will be able to voice their opinion and will be able to educate themselves upon. That's basically how things are done. Anything else you guys would like to talk about?
Yeah, by the way, I posted the governance process in general, but you can find it in the forum as well. So yeah, everything that we said is outlined clearly there, and yeah, it's available there.
Thank you, man. I was looking for it, and then I probably dropped out of the call because I was looking for it. Apologies.
There's also still some questions from Guitardo. From earlier, we discussed about this solidity, but there's also 2 more questions from the same person.
Sure. You wanna first have Caesar make his question, and then we can go on with
sure. Yep. Yeah, I just didn't want it to be missed.
Yeah. Caesar, go
thanks. Yeah, thanks for popping ahead. Address kind of the elephant in the room here, and ask a couple questions, like about Dan himself and his do you want to call it removal, step down, or exclusion from the decision making system of Abracadabra. Like he obviously has skills, and he has benefited the system quite a bit. And there's both sides of the story on him: people who like him, people who hate him, and all this kind of stuff. That's what happens to people who stand in those shoes, right? So, what I want to know is basically like, does he have any feedback on his ex? Like, is he leaving with saltiness? Is he happy to leave? Is this his idea? Is this something that he wants, or is he just he's not around? And then also, furthermore, like, do you guys have any idea, like, what kind of exposure he still has? Is he a major whale still? Does he have a lot of cauldrons open and this kind of stuff? I'm not
So
sure.
I would like to make a few comments on that. First of all, Danny is a mentor and somebody that I personally have always respected a lot. And I would like not to speak about anything that happened privately in public. And I would ask you to respect the decision. In terms of how much exposure he still has, his wallet is public. I can tell you that as we said, he's no longer involved in the decision-making process, and he's no longer an active member of the team. As of right now, we don't have plans on replacing him in the multisig, in the large meme multisig, because we believe that the multisig is there to make sure that the system is secured, and he has never done anything to prove the opposite. As I said, related to how much ownership he still has, he received a team allocation, and this wallet is public. He still has voting rights in the DAO, as any other stockholders, and that's about how much he is involved in the decision-making process. As anybody else who has a spell, he can vote for or against each of the proposals that are posted on the DAO. And as I said before, when it's about how exactly he feels and stuff like that, I would rather not go into that because he's a mentor and a friend, and I don't like to speak in public about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's good for me. I just figured I'd be the person to ask.
No, for sure. I mean, of course, part of this AMA is done to address people questions about this part of the mirror, and I am sure that if anybody else has any other questions related to this, if I can answer, I'm happy to answer them. I just ask you to respect the fact that some things are private, and I don't feel comfortable speaking about a friend and a mentor publicly. Good, Caesar? Or do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry, my mic was turned off. I turned it off
No worries,
when I'm not speaking. So I was just saying, thank you, and I appreciate it. And I do understand what you mean about the mentor and all this kind of stuff. And I agree with you on that. I'm just being the devil's advocate and asking the questions that I think people are geek about. And
Absolutely, totally agree on that.
Okay, Pierce.
Totally agree on that. Cheers, man. Take care. Ciao, Caesar. Do you have any other questions in general? Let me see. Maybe speak about Danny without relating him to you. I don't really know what you mean, Lollipop. I think I gave a pretty solid picture of what happened, and that's as much as I can say about it, because I don't like talking publicly about stuff that happened private. What is going to be the strategy with Solidly? Yeah, so again, for the, we're going to probably publish some kind of forum post about the strategy with Solidly, but we have had a very deep and interesting conversation with the Solidly team, and the agreement we reached upon is that in exchange for the NFT, we are basically working on some synergetic stuff for both projects. I am not sure how much we can talk about it until they announce it, but I'm also pretty sure they did announce it already. So there's going to be Solidly cauldrons, there's going to be a lot of meme adoption of Solidly, and we strongly like the fact that we can work synergetically with those kind of teams and people that are building through their market, basically. Merlin, do you want to add anything on the Solidly part?
Yeah, I don't know specifically. I think we talked about it before. And I mean, maybe like what I think we could talk about is a bit about our partners and how we interact. And maybe I think we could also talk a bit about how we work currently as an organization, how we work together with partners. I think that working together with partners, obviously very long-standing partners have been, I think, Curve, in Condex, in Yearn, and with all of these parties, we interact very often. They are there for us if it's about doing smart contracts. Some of them are on a multi-sig. C2GP was for a long time, and now on the main multi-sig micro and multi. So our they make sure that transactions are even structurally like that. I mean, that one thing about multi-sigs is having different people on there, but you often need people to actually understand what's actually going on with these transactions, which is why it's actually not so easy to replace them. So they actually check the transactions, make sure that they're good, and then sign and execute them. On the other side, we have new partners who are always open to help with ideas, help formulate them, help that smart contract. On the smart contract side, we are 3 to 4 developers working on Abracadabra projects, mainly being obviously the platform underpinning loans. On the other hand, outside we have projects such as Potion, and then all of the periphery infrastructure around that means different strategies for different holdings. We've worked a lot in terms of automations, and automation smart contracts that are created by tools like Gelato to make sure we can safeguard any new actions.
Yep.
And
I totally agree on that. Yeah.
Things such as like end-style distribution.
Yeah, totally agree on you on that, and I think it's very important that we say that we are always open for any kind of partnerships. We love working with other players in the industry, and if stakeholders want this to happen, it's very important that they voice their opinion on that. Let me just make a few examples on this. We're working with Yearn a lot. We're working with the guys from Curve Finance. We're working with the guys from Camelot. All those other partnerships that are in the pipeline and will actually go through will for sure be very beneficial for our whole ecosystem. But if this was not the case, we can always make a proposal and vote towards stopping this partnership, and stakeholders is in right to do so. And we're going to announce this partnership when they come on, so that any stakeholders know when a partnership is actually taken. Yeah. There's another question wrong with products in the pipeline not introduced currently. What are your feelings about the long-term viability of Abra? I'm pretty bullish about it, to be honest. I believe that using a correct framework and making sure that the risk assessment are done diligently and by skilled players, we can definitely increase Abra's revenues, Abra's sustainability, and Abra's risk management, basically, and not incur again in the same mistakes that we did in the past that could have been done better for both for the protocol sustainability, basically. Yeah. Not sure if this will answer your questions, Buba. Just let me know in case. Let me see if there's any other questions. Can you speak about what happened between Danny and Abra, the reasons things become all this stuff later, and something sooner is better than later? Again, no, we don't feel comfortable talking about anything that happened behind the scenes. What's important now is that the team that has been managing Abra for the last, I would say 10 months, more or less, is here. We're all here. We're all here working, and we're all here making sure that the DAO wheel is executed and the protocol that we are building is basically sustainable, decentralized, and yeah, that's basically it.
Romy, do you wanna go into legal entity and that kind of structure?
Yet, meaning that we are still working on having a proposal ready for that. We are looking into different options, but once again, once these options are set in stone, we will make a proposal for the DAO to vote upon, if need required. Basically. But as of right now, there's nothing official yet. What this is. Keep an eye on the forum, and whenever we have updates or any possible situation related to any legal entities for Abracadabra, will be all posted there. To make sure that all stakeholders can educate themselves upon, and then make an educated guess, not educated guess, or educated opinion on it. Apologies, my English is getting a little bit wrecked with thousands all day. Why are some Abra energies like that also meant for Popsicle? So I don't want to go too much into this because this is a Abra focused call, but the people that are currently working for Popsicle are only working for Popsicle and not for Abra. I think that's what we should currently update, especially on the backend side. How can the bad debt? Sorry,
yeah, on the subject talked a bit about that. So I know also Johnny was not very clear on that in the past, that this legacy team has always been just an Abra. So all contract building and the protocol building was not doing anything else.
Yeah, so more information will come on that side, but in the future, not now. How can the bad debt hurt us in the bear market as long as debt keeps working? Not saying you'll have two or anything, just curious worst case scenario, thanks. When we're talking about the bad debt, I think there's some point that needs to be made. The bad debt was caused by basically USD going down too fast, given the risk parameters that we set on that holder. I personally don't believe that the bad debt is a huge issue, having the treasury as we have it now. As of right now, as you have probably seen in the article, our treasury is mostly constituted of stablecoins, and we are happy with the risk profile that it's currently experiencing it. And at the end of the day, yes, of course, in terms of how actually the risks are, everybody should do his own research and be comfortable with that, I would say. Any other questions? Let me skip up. Oh yes, service pumping, I think. Are they getting short squeeze, Frog? I think they are, right?
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Yeah, that's interesting for sure.
Also, like in the bad debt study specifically, like we have outlined exactly how we plan to repay it, and we have enough to repay it for the coming month. And so, yeah, the focus is on the repayment. We have infrastructure, and we have things to let the community know exactly what the bad debt is. We have dashboards that are done by third parties, like the website. I don't remember the name, but like some people are watching the bad debt and giving it like a completely independent review of it. And yeah, we have a plan to tackle it. Like it's definitely something we are getting into, and yeah, it's not something we are like hiding or anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, as usual, Melon did this amazing bot here that basically fucks the bad debt. And as we said in the Medium article, our plan is to repay 5% of this bad debt every month on the first of each month, or the second, depending on multi-signer delays. And yeah, that's basically how we're going to move forward. And the DAO approved this decision by signing a vote and approving a vote on paying it over time, and that's what we're doing. And we believe that this is the risk framework stockholders are comfortable with. Any other question, boys? Should I skip, scroll up? I'm trying to figure out. Of course, hop on stage if you want to ask questions, guys. Like, it's a friendly conversation and nobody will bite you. When is the next event where we can meet? Oh, this is interesting, John. So I feel like we should definitely start working on some kind of weekly or bi-weekly community calls. I had already a good conversation about it with Melon, with Brab, with Jimmy, with all the other mods. And I believe there's a lot of cool opportunities in building something like that. Maybe Melon, you want to talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, at first I thought he meant like in real life, and I was like, oof. No, but yeah, like regarding like AMAs and stuff, like as you've seen, the focus of the team is really towards decentralization and towards making this like our protocol and like in a really big way. And so letting people know of what's up and collecting thoughts and having this conversation is going to be core to that. So yes, regarding of the amount of news and regarding the availability of everyone, these AMAs could become more frequent. Is it going to be weekly? Is it going to be bi-weekly? I'm not sure yet, but it's definitely something that is going to be more frequent. And as always, if we have like a big batch of news coming shortly, like it deserves an AMA, there will be one. But yeah, the idea is that we want to make them more frequent because collecting thoughts from communities is very valuable, as we've seen like in the past hour. And letting people know what's up is very important. So they will be more frequent.
Totally agree, and we will give you more details about it. Maybe we could actually even outline some kind of schedule on the forum or something like that. Man, definitely something we can work more towards. Rumi, you spent some time talking to stakeholders, liquidators, whales behind closed doors for the FTT stuff. You said you learned a lot in these talks. Anything you can share? Not sure there's much I can share publicly, but we basically addressed most of the concerns, and we are happy to say that the situation was resolved without any loss incurred from our side. The current minimum exposure to FTT is less than $30,000. If the price was to move to their liquidation price, which now is very, very low, we're talking about cents, $30,000 is easily liquidatable or be absorbed by the protocol in any way. Like we basically managed to survive the whole FTP situation without any major bad debt or any major setback from the protocol. So I think I see the FTP situation as an absolute win for the community and for the protocol itself. Not sure, Roxer, if you had any more specific questions that we can answer. I'm not 100% sure, but if you have, just hop on the call and ask them. Always happy to reply.
Yeah, just a quick clarification. To reiterate, great job on FTP stuff. We all really appreciate your work there. I guess what I was specifically thinking was like, I thought I heard you mention people, some of like the larger institutional buyers had issues with how MIM, like the bad debt type thing, things just to take care of for MIM before we got more like that institutional money coming through to increase our MIM pools.
Sure. So I think related to this topic, we can discuss on the fact that having a clear plan on how to repay the bad debt, we can all agree is something that instills trust in a stable coin and in a protocol itself. Since day one of the bad debt being accumulated, I was always a huge supporter of trying to get rid of the bad debt, or at least have a clear path to move forward. Because the way I personally see it is that if you tell people that are using your protocol exactly what's happening and you are transparent with it, then all these possible FUD situations are way easier to address. For example, the fact that we now have a clear path towards improving the situation with the bad debt, we have been in contact with market makers and other entities that are now, again, looking back at depositing their assets in the military pool. I believe some of them did already. The health of the meme pool should be a testament on how good the market reacted to this announcement. And I also believe that part of the increasing health in the meme pool is given by the fact that people closed loans and didn't want to have liquidation price at risk during this bear market. But as I said, there's plenty of, as long as we have a good plan and a plan voted towards by stockholders, I believe there is a very good chance on not being hurt too much by these reputational risks of having bad debt. Because at the end of the day, the bad debt has been there for a while, and we are all the people involved in this situation know the risk of doing so and trust that the way that has been voted towards by the stockholders is the best possible solution to address this problem.
Yeah,
Make
thanks for
sense?
that. Yeah, totally. I think it was really good to see, the actual evidence of the work that goes into having a clear plan and then having the MIM poll be healthier. Like just seeing that kind of balance between having a healthy protocol and people wanting to join back in is really nice. So anything else like that you hear from other people looking to participate in Abracadabra would be cool to hear about.
For sure. Do you have any other suggestions on how we could improve this bad debt situation?
Not at all. I guess mostly the other thing I've been hearing about is the governance stuff. So it sounds like you guys have a good handle on that. So if we could just get a few more community proposals through to show the goodwill there, I think that'd help out a lot too.
Yes, 100%. We will be focusing a lot on improving that part of the governance in order to have a more steady amount of propositions coming through. Also, not only from team members, but also from side projects and potential partners. Because the way we see it is that when you make a deal with another entity, you should have a proposal. This entity should make a proposal on the forum, and this proposal should be voted upon and receive suggestions and feedback from stockholders. And that's what we are doing with partnerships that are coming up in the pipeline, and this is what you will see in the future on our governance framework.
Awesome. Glad you agreed. Thanks for the time.
100%. Cheers. Ciao. So we've been going on for a little bit more than an hour. So if you guys have any other questions, can you please ping me in general or something like that? Let me see. Being able to pay back 5% bad debt in the bear market is markedly bullish. Yes, it is. I believe that it's a good plan moving forward. Anything else that you guys would like to add or something like that? Brab dreaming. Okay. Sounds like we're yeah, sounds good. We reached the end of this AMA. Thanks everybody for coming. As I said, we're going to have multiple and more often AMAs in the future to make sure that we are able to learn more from the community and improve where we have to improve as much as we can. So thanks everybody for joining. Take care, have fun, and if you need anything, just ping me. I'm always around in general or anything like that. Sounds good?
Sure.
Thanks everyone. Take care. Have an amazing week.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Alright, cheers. Ciao.
Bye.
Okay, everything is open. Okay, I feel like we can start.